In August 2024, an Icelandic geological survey team mapping geothermal activity near the Reykjanes Peninsula detected something impossible on their thermal imaging equipment. 45 kilometers southeast of Reykjanes, in an area of active volcanic vents and lava fields, heat signatures appeared that didn't match natural geothermal patterns, structures designed to harness volcanic energy, hidden beneath layers of hardened lava. When engineers excavated the site, they found something that made the Icelandic National Police seal off the entire area within hours. A concrete facility built directly over geothermal vents, complete with power generation equipment, living quarters, and a communications center, all camouflaged by 79 years of volcanic ash and lava flow. Inside the main control room, Luftwaffe navigation charts dated April 1945, a functioning geothermal power system still drawing heat from the earth, encrypted radio logs, and a name painted on the generator housing. Oberst Friedrich von Stein, Luftwaffe Technical Division. Von Stein was a Luftwaffe commander and engineer who'd vanished from Oslo in late April 1945. His death certificate, signed by Norwegian resistance authorities, listed him as executed for war crimes. His name appeared on Allied wanted lists. His family was told he'd been killed. The case was closed, but the geothermal base tells a different story. That survey team had just discovered a fully operational facility built in the late 1940s, powered by Iceland's volcanic energy, stocked with German technical equipment and supplies, clearly designed for long-term habitation and communication, completely off the grid. If you want to see what investigators uncovered about von Stein's real mission and why Allied intelligence suspected German officers were hiding in Iceland's volcanic wastelands for decades after the war, hit that like button. It helps us bring more forgotten World War II stories to light. And subscribe if you haven't already, because what we found in the base's sealed vault will reveal a network of former Luftwaffe engineers who'd been exploiting Iceland's geothermal energy for purposes investigators are still trying to understand. Now, back to April 1945, when a Luftwaffe commander received orders that would take him to one of Earth's most geologically active locations. Character Introduction 130 to 230. Oberst Friedrich von Stein was 43 when the war ended. Unlike most Luftwaffe officers, his background was mechanical engineering from Berlin Technical University 1928, specializing in power generation systems. Von Stein joined the Luftwaffe in 1935 in a technical role, designing airfield infrastructure, power systems, and communications across occupied territories. By 1942, he commanded the technical division in Norway, managing air operations infrastructure across Scandinavia. What made von Stein unique? His interest in alternative energy. While stationed in Norway, he'd studied hydroelectric systems. He'd also visited Iceland during a 1944 weather station inspection tour. Neutral Iceland allowed both Allied and Axis meteorological operations. That Iceland visit showed von Stein unlimited geothermal energy. The island sat on the mid-Atlantic ridge where tectonic plates met, creating volcanic activity that could generate power indefinitely. By late 1944, recognizing Germany would lose, von Stein saw his escape option: build a self-sustaining facility in a location so inhospitable nobody would search for it. Between December 1944 and April 1945, he diverted technical equipment, converted funds to Swiss currency, and contacted German expatriates in Iceland. Historical context 245 to 315. April 1945. Norway remained under German occupation, but collapse was imminent. Soviet forces advanced from the north. British forces prepared to enter from the south. The 350,000 Wehrmacht troops in Norway faced inevitable surrender. For Luftwaffe officers involved in occupation administration, surrender meant war crimes trials. Norwegian resistance had compiled extensive lists of German officers responsible for reprisals and deportations. Von Stein's name appeared on those lists, not for combat operations, but for authorizing actions against resistance sabotage. Iceland's situation was unique. Though officially neutral, Iceland had been occupied by British forces in 1940, then American forces in 1941. By 1945, it served as a vital Allied naval and air base. But Iceland's interior, volcanic wastelands, glaciers, lava fields, remained largely uninhabited and unmonitored. The island's geothermal resources were known but largely unexploited. A few hot springs were used for heating, but Iceland's potential for power generation wouldn't be fully developed until the 1960s to 70s. In 1945, the volcanic interior was considered worthless wasteland. Von Stein understood what others didn't, that volcanic wasteland could provide unlimited energy for a hidden facility. No fuel deliveries, no power grid connection, no infrastructure dependencies, complete autonomy. The Escape 315 to 445. April 22, 1945. As Oslo prepared for liberation, von Stein activated his escape plan. April 24th. A burned body was discovered in a Luftwaffe vehicle destroyed during a resistance ambush. The corpse wore von Stein's identification. Norwegian resistance authorities processed it as Oberst von Stein, executed during operations. Death certificate signed April 26th. The body was a Wehrmacht soldier killed in combat, dressed in von Stein's uniform. Von Stein had already left Oslo using Swedish diplomatic courier documents. Sweden was neutral and maintained relations with both sides. May 1945. Von Stein traveled through Sweden to Gothenburg, then boarded an Icelandic fishing vessel as Henrik Steinsson, a returning Icelandic German citizen. Iceland's immigration authorities focused on Allied military operations, barely checked civilian arrivals. June 1945. Von Stein reached Reykjavik. Using contacts from his 1944 visit, the small German expatriate community provided housing and supplies. To locals, he was just another European refugee seeking neutrality. But von Stein wasn't staying in Reykjavik. His destination was the Reykjanes Peninsula's interior, 45 kilometers of volcanic wasteland where nobody lived and nobody went. July 1945. Von Stein hired Icelandic guides to survey the area, claiming to be studying geothermal potential for commercial development. The guides, paid well, asked no questions. August 1945. Von Stein identified the perfect location, a geothermal field with multiple steam vents, surrounded by recent lava flows, accessible only by difficult overland routes. No settlements for 30 kilometers, no roads, no infrastructure. The site's remoteness was both challenge and advantage. Building there would be extremely difficult, but once established, the facility would be virtually invisible. Building the base 4:30 to 5:30. September-December 1945. Using diverted funds converted to Icelandic krona, von Stein hired workers through intermediaries. Cover story: building a geothermal research station for a European company. Workers transported materials over 3 months, cement, steel, pipes, equipment. Work was brutal. Iceland's freezing winds, rain, volcanic ash made construction dangerous. January-April 1946. The base consisted of 3 structures: power generation building over geothermal vents, living quarters with control room, and communications center with disguised antenna. The genius was the power system. Pipes descended into vents, capturing superheated steam to drive turbines. Electricity without fuel, completely self-sufficient as long as volcanic activity continued. May-June 1946. Von Stein installed smuggled German equipment, radio transmitters, generators, workshop tools. July 1946. Base operational. Von Stein had created something unprecedented, completely off-grid, powered by the Earth itself. His logs reveal the purpose: autonomous communication relay and observation post. Powered by geothermal energy, requires no external support. I can operate indefinitely. A waiting station, monitoring, listening, preserving capability. Life in isolation, 5:45 to 7:15. August 1946. Von Stein's log. Base operational. Geothermal system generating 12 kilowatts continuously. Living quarters comfortable. I am invisible. Von Stein lived primarily at the base, visiting Reykjavik quarterly. To the German community, he was Henrik Steinsson, eccentric engineer studying geothermal energy. The systems worked flawlessly. Geothermal power never failed. Volcanic heat warmed living quarters. Water came from melted snow. Food preserved, supplemented quarterly. January 1948. 2 years in isolation. Base functions perfectly. I monitor Allied communications, NATO military traffic. Iceland's strategic location allows excellent signal interception. This was his mission: signals intelligence from his volcanic base, intercepting radio traffic without detection. March 1950. Contact with other former Luftwaffe officers, meeting with K in Reykjavik, 2 others in Scandinavia. We maintain informal network, each monitors different sectors. June 1955. 10 years at the base. Geothermal systems still perfect. No failures. Hikers occasionally pass within kilometers but never detect the facility. The psychological toll was evident, almost entirely alone in one of Earth's most desolate locations. But the technical challenge sustained him. December 1960. 15 years. I am 58. The base could operate another century. I monitor NATO expansion. My intelligence has value but no customer. March 1965. Final entry: 20 years since war ended. The base remains functional. German engineering applied to Iceland's geology created something remarkable. A facility that needs nothing, produces everything, and endures. After March 1965, logs end. The base was sealed. The investigation 7:15 to 8:30. For 59 years the geothermal base sat undiscovered. Iceland's volcanic interior sees few visitors, too hostile, too remote. Allied intelligence suspected Germans might have hidden in Iceland. A 1946 British report mentions possibility of German personnel in remote interior, but searches focused on inhabited areas. In 1973, geologists found artificial structures, possibly research equipment, but assumed it was abandoned scientific gear. They'd been within 200 meters of the base. August 2024. Iceland's National Energy Authority mapped geothermal resources using thermal imaging. August 8th. Technician Bjorn Thorsen detected thermal anomalies, organized patterns, not natural vents. August 10th. Engineers investigated. Ground-penetrating radar confirmed artificial structures beneath lava. August 12th. Excavation began. The main building emerged, concrete reinforced with steel, remarkably intact. August 14th. Entry breached, interior preserved by dry geothermal heat. Control room, Luftwaffe charts. Radio equipment, geothermal power system, still generating electricity after 79 years. Turbines rotated slowly, lights could be activated. August 16th. Vault opened. Inside, technical logs: 1906 und 40, minus 1905 und 60, engineering blueprints, and painted on generator. Oberst Friedrich von Stein, Luftwaffe Technische Abteilung, 1906 und 40. International news within 48 hours. The revelation 8:30 to 10:15. Icelandic authorities assembled investigation team. Engineers, historians, geothermal specialists. The technical documentation was extraordinary. Von Stein had created geothermal power systems decades ahead of their time. Engineers confirmed the facility was still functional. Turbines could restart immediately. Cross-referencing logs with Icelandic records, investigators identified families who'd known Henrik Steinsen, the engineer in the lava fields. September 2024. Researchers found death record in Reykjavik. Henrik Steinsen, born 1902, von Stein's birth year, died November 1978, buried Fossvogr Cemetery. Occupation: geothermal consultant. He'd worked for Icelandic energy companies 1966 to 1975, advising on geothermal development. Exhumation ordered. DNA compared with von Stein's descendants in Germany. October: Spy 1000, wir unzonzigste results. 99.7%, Psychen match. Henrik Steinsen was Friedrich von Stein. He'd lived at the base until 1965, then moved to Reykjavik, and worked legitimately in Iceland's geothermal industry. Married an Icelandic woman in 1968, had one son, now 56, an engineer in Reykjavik. To colleagues and family, brilliant German engineer who came for geothermal research. Nobody suspected. He died age 76. Peacefully, never exposed, never prosecuted. The site is now protected for engineering study. The facility demonstrates advanced geothermal engineering decades before commercial development. Artifacts displayed at National Museum of Iceland. Exhibition: Hidden Engineering. The geothermal base opened December 2024. Von Stein's son. I knew my father as a geothermal pioneer. Learning he was Luftwaffe is shocking, but his work legitimately advanced Iceland's energy development. Friedrich von Stein faked his death, built a self-sustaining volcanic facility, operated it 20 years, then transitioned to legitimate work using the same expertise. The base still functions. The geothermal system still generates power after 79 years. Engineers estimate it could operate another century, testament to German engineering applied to Icelandic geology. Sometimes the guilty don't just escape. They create something that outlasts them, then die as respected contributors to the society that sheltered them.